Morning, guys. It is a beautiful Sunday morning here. We just got back, I just got back last night, unloaded a Minneapolis Mowing G550 rare tractor. But this video has nothing to do with old tractors today or anything of the like. We're actually getting ready to step in the shop here and work on my Gleaner R65. Now, this video is pretty much specifically for Gleaner people that are running an R62 or R65 Gleaner with a CAPS injection pump, or anybody looking at an R62 or R65 Gleaner with a CAPS injection pump. My CAPS injection pump on this combine is failing. It throws engine code 329, which lovingly my Gleaner mechanic and friend Marcus said is the code of death. And this combine has actually pretty much thrown an engine code of some sort related to the injection pump since the day I bought the combine 3 or 4 years ago. But this year it has finally gotten bad enough. We're having lit mode issues, constant codes, constant beeping. Before it was on startup and stuff like that. Never really an issue. But yeah, this combine, and you'll have to excuse my shop, it's a mess. I've been busy. Life's busy. I've got 2 kids, 2 businesses, just a lot of things going on. But this is an 05 Gleaner R65 combine. Has an 8.3 Cummins in it with a CAPS injection pump. And a lot of Case IH, MX, like 285 and some other ones, and a couple New Holland tractors, I believe, used the CAPS injection pump. Same injector pump as this combine has. And area diesel service out of some I-state, I'm bad at this, Indiana, Illinois, something like that, makes a kit to put a Cummins P-pump injection pump on those tractors. Now, the tractors, they end up using just a mechanical throttle when they put that P-pump in. This combine doesn't really work to put a mechanical throttle in it, so we're going about that different route. But yeah, I actually cracked an injector line on this last week, going to number 5 cylinder, which is a common problem. So actually I had this thing pretty cleaned out after I put the new injector line on, and yeah, did that. So I'd actually just recently power washed this whole engine bay out. So most everything in here is really, really clean. And I see we're probably gonna have to get some better lighting set up for this deal. But that is your CAPS injection pump. It is a big electronic mess of sensors and wires, and has a tendency to throw codes. I know some people had problems with them dumping diesel in the oil, among other things. So we bought the kit. It was nearly $9 grand, I think, to put a P-pump in this combine. Now, like I said, the tractors run a mechanical throttle linkage. We are going to put a linear actuator in here and run a momentary switch up into the cab to idle the combine up and down, or at least that's my plan. And we're a little bit in uncharted territory here because we're not sure. It might still throw codes and beep at us, but we're working on a solution for that. So from here, pretty much I'm going to start following the directions, which I've already read through once, and try to sort this out and get the injector pump installed, and we can talk about it along the way, hopefully, and I can solve some of my Gleaner brethren's problems for the future. Because I know there's a couple people that have done this, but they couldn't really answer a lot of my questions. One of them had bought the combine with it already on it, and the other one said he had a lot of issues. So whatever, we're gonna figure it out. Today's the day I'm done with this. I have like 100 acres of milo left and 500 acres of corn left. But we had a rain event over the weekend, and this is the perfect time for me to pull it in the shop and sort this deal out. At the end of the day, I can still go run with the N6 if I need to. So I'll show you the P-pump here in a minute, and then we're gonna jump into tearing this down. All right, so I laid out all the parts, piece of plywood, just so I can find this while I'm working on it. There's your big old P-pump, injection pump. Won't really need that guy there for the mechanical throttle or that bag of stuff, I don't think. Clamps and stuff for injector lines, drain or some sort of oil hole port thing. I think that's to wire in the kill solenoid for the injector pump, the fuel shut-off solenoid. That goes in the cab. that's the part I'm concerned about, actually finding a place to plug in. Because if we can plug this in, I think we won't have any loud blaring codes in the cab and all my injector lines. So that's what we're after, big old P-pump, injection pump. I mean, that's a hunk of iron there. But we got to go back up in the cab now, or up in the engine bay now, and kind of start working, verify we have power to run the kill solenoid, and then from there I think we start tearing out the CAPS pump. I need to look at the directions again. I read through them once a while ago, but I need to go sit down and do it again and kind of just jump into this deal and get it figured out. All right, well, we're digging into this more. The first thing you do is do some tests with the wiring to make sure you have 12 volts to supply the kill solenoid while the motor's cranking, which from the directions it said take it off the engine starter solenoid and only have 12 volts for engine cranking. So I used that connection right there. It only had 12 volts while the motor's cranking, and then had to run the wire up under the motor to the supplied harness here. And honestly, I'm gonna have to call and ask some questions here, because it will engage the kill solenoid, which is something they said to test. It was latching in, but when you shut the motor or shut the switch on the combine off, it was not uncoupling. So something's not right there. I need to do some more electrical testing, but from what I kind of figured out, it looks like it will start and run pretty much. So that is good. The next step they wanted you to do is take the intake, the boost tube off. It's sitting up there, and then pull your fuel filter housing off. And I set it over there in the engine bay. The more time I spend in here, the more I realize I didn't do that great a job of cleaning this, but that's okay. We're just gonna keep diving through the directions here, and as we get to the next thing, we can talk about it. Yeah, the next thing is removing fuel return lines and a bunch of electrical connections, and yeah, go from there. All right, we made some pretty big progress here. As you can see, no more injector pump in here, but you got to go through and take all the injector lines off, all the injector line brackets, get the motor rolled over to TDC. On a combine, that's really easy because there's a big old nut there on the end of the PTO drive output pulley. So you rotated that. The TDC marks are on in that whole front side. Got it on TDC. You have to put a gear puller in there and pull the gear off the tapered shaft on the injector pump. The gear stays in there, but it's a tapered fit, so you gotta get that undone. Really just grab a little gear puller like this, go for it, and then yeah, only real hang up I had is I had one stud come out that holds the injector pump on, but that's really pretty easy fix overall. Yeah, now just need to kind of proceed from here. It's kind of time to start installing stuff. It's getting towards the end of the day here, and I gotta go help take care of kids. But yeah, big gains. Good stuff. We're making progress here. Gonna take this bracket off here still. Couldn't really get at it with the AC pump or the compressor being where it was. So I just waited till the injector pump was off, and now I have more clearance to get a wrench in there. So gaining, but lots of fun. We're making progress on this thing. My pile of parts is quickly dwindling. That's all stuff that's not pertinent because it's for cable style throttle. Yeah, most of the other things are in my pocket, are already up in the engine bay. Sent my wife to town for a couple hoses to make this thing work that are a little different from the tractor application, but we are quickly nearing the end on this, I think. We'll crawl up into the engine bay and I'll show you. Well, not nearing the end. It's gonna take a little bit to get the linear actuator throttle set up, figured out, but yeah, we've got 3 more injector lines to do. I just got back from eating lunch, so, but yeah, we've got the injector pump in there. That wasn't any too wild. I've already put 3 injector lines on. I'm waiting on, wife's making me a line to go from, it's air pressure reference, I believe is what they called it, for the injector pump. It goes from there. It was supposed to go into here on the tractor application, but this combine has a air intake grid heater, but that port there gets you the same thing, which solves that problem. Had to make or get a longer line here for, or make my own little bit of line here for fuel feed, which we still need to finish up. And then fuel return is actually on the back side of the pump over in right there, clear back in there. I'll show it once it's in here. Different between tractor and combine too. It needs to go from there, clear over, and come to here. So not a big deal. Just having to make a few of my own things because this kit was for a tractor, not for a combine. We'll see how the governor acts. It really should be pretty good because most tractor governors are built to lug. So you would think once I set it at 2300 or whatever RPM, stock's 2300. Should be pretty okay, I would say. But yeah, we're quickly gaining here. Got the fuel kill actuator set up there. I think somehow we're going to mount the linear actuator to the air filter frame housing, air filter bracket. I think is kind of my plan. Not entirely sure yet. We'll figure that out when we get there. It's an experiment. We got like 3 more injector lines to do here, and my wife will be back with the hoses I need. Making progress. It's in there. We had to make this line here a little different than they said. The return that comes back from the backside of the injector pump, we had to make a little different. They wanted to route it up towards the radiator, which I kind of disagree with. And yeah, this one here, instead of being ported in right there where the intake grid heater is, I put in right there in the side of the head. Should work the same. I don't have my actuator hooked up yet. I just have that on there. So I have a throttle. We're going to try to prime this thing. You just turn the key on and I have the return unhooked on the back side of the pump. It should run fuel out. Once I have fuel there, I will shut it. I'll have Sarah, who's here helping me, crank the combine until I have fuel out of the top of the injector pump where it goes in the line. Once I have fuel there, we will tighten those up and see what happens, I guess. Hopefully it fires up, and then we'll have to worry about figuring out throttle setup shortly thereafter. Okay, biggest concern with all this, you're good, is do we turn the switch on? I have to mess with something because I can't kill it yet with the key. We figured out, but uh-oh.
That's the first time it's done that.
Huh. It wasn't beeping at us a minute ago. It was happy. Something done. A minute ago it was not beeping at us, and we do have RPM, which was a concern, but obviously we're throwing codes and beeping. So a minute ago it wasn't until I turned the camera on.
Yep. 611 is the new code.
Yeah, 611 is the new code, and but I had a loose injector line there for a minute and it was making a mess in the cabin. The combine had an audible miss. Now we do not have that miss, but I need to figure out why I'm not able to shut off with the key and go from there. But it runs and starts. I was really excited because it wasn't beeping, and now it is, but we'll figure that out when we get there. All right, yesterday, wife and I messed with this thing some more. We think the reason it threw the code was because we shut the ignition off and the combine didn't shut itself down. And then we kicked the ignition back on, and then it was angry. So reset some stuff, and from there it has been pretty okay. But still need to get the actuator set up on the throttle and figure out why it's not shutting itself off at the key. So I'm gonna work on getting the actuator up in there first. End of the day, I can get out of the combine and kill it at the motor, I guess. We're kind of pressed for time here a little bit with Thanksgiving and stuff like that, and I need this back in a field, cutting Milo maybe this afternoon or tomorrow. So let's get to it. Okay, it is in here. As far as the throttle goes, I gotta set the CAPS pump down on the ground still. But I have this actuator set up in here. It idles the combine up and down. Nothing fancy, need to throw a few more zip ties on, but we're operational. I have a 4-inch stroke actuator in here, and it uses the full range of it. I had to do some adjustments to make that happen, but that is good. That's about it up there. We'll walk up to the cab and I'll show you what we got there. Still a little torn apart here in the cab. I wanted to put my throttle over here, but for now it's gonna be right there. That's got like a big old thick piece of metal. It's like that thick, and the switch doesn't come all the way through it. That's gonna be a next year problem or a permanent solution. But yeah, that switch right there is now my throttle. Left is idle down, right is idle up. That's pretty much it. I had to adjust the stops on the injector pump because it was only going up to 2230, and this combine is high idle 2300. I have it set at like 2350 now. What's it gonna hurt? Other than that, I think we're pretty much ready to rock and roll here. Guess we'll report back when it's in the field, and we'll talk about, I guess, how it's running. Hopefully it should run a little better and have a little bit more horsepower and lugging capability, because before we did not. All right, we ran the R65 yesterday afternoon with the new P pump and stuff in it. Worked good. Everything seems to function fine. No beeping or codes in the cab, which is wonderful. I did have to add a relay. We'll talk more about that in a second, but for now, set you guys up, fire this combine up this morning. Used to always be a real big struggle to start this combine up first thing in the morning. It just would sit there and bang and clang and shake at like 400 or 500 RPM. Should just fire up and idle this morning. That is worlds better than it used to be. I had to add a relay up in the engine compartment to the way they had the fuel kill solenoid set up is it takes power from two places. It takes a constant 12 volts as you turn the ignition to crank, if that makes sense. So like a really strong 12 volt, and it takes that straight off the starter solenoid basically. But then it also takes a 12 volt, basically needs a keyed 12 volt power after you let off of cranking to hold that actuator in. For some reason, my combine, where they said to plug it in, was a constant 12 volt all the time, so it wouldn't shut the combine off. So I added a relay in the engine compartment. It takes keyed 12 volt from the cab now, and starts, runs. I mean, you heard it start. That was amazing. It used to start, I mean, it'd sit there and bang and clang for 30 seconds at 400 or 500 RPM, and then my idle up, and occasionally it would just shut itself back down. So way better, acting great. The actuator for throttle is going to take a little bit of getting used to. It works fine. It's just different, and that's okay. But yeah, we're gonna run this thing today some more. Put it to work, we'll talk about it a little bit, but there's really nothing else to talk about. It's a functional, good acting combine again, and that is what we needed. We're rolling. This thing really truthfully runs way better with the P-pump in it. No complaints, love it. Holds right around 2,300 RPM all the time. I mean, you're gonna lose a little RPM under load, that's fine. And I can always throttle it up just a little bit more, which is good, but effective and working, and that's what matters. So hopefully if you guys with CAPS Pump Gleaner combines find this useful, if you've got any more questions, get a hold of me, and I can offer maybe a little guidance on what I figured out. But right now we're not throwing any codes up there, so we must be doing something fairly right. But that's gonna be it here. You guys take care, have a good one, and go drag some out of the weeds and get it running.